Hello! So we're doing this a little more low tech today. Do you like the view of like heaven coming in over there? So I'm recording this the day after the new South Park episode was supposed to air. But if you're watching this, spoilers, it did not. I also got a sore throat today, bear with me. There was an announcement a few hours before airtime, maybe like 5 o'clock yesterday, saying an episode would not air this week and would be pushed back a third week. Just for perspective, the only time South Park missed an episode was, I want to say 2013, and that was due to a power outage. And they have been evolving to a point where they just whip out an episode within a week's time. Now, this is not something that's forced upon them. This is something they've chosen to do. And I think it's a good choice for the kind of show that they make. Very topical and very fluid in relationship to the world around them. You could argue it's their secret sauce. Fast forward to this season, where even the initial premiere, and I think a lot of people forget this, the actual premiere of the season was delayed from July 9th to the 23rd, which was whatever. And then after that first episode of the season aired, the following week, there was a delay, which I was super cool with because it's like, okay, that episode was hard to top, let's keep going. And then the second episode comes out, which was good. And then that following week, there was South Park Day, which I don't necessarily know if that's a thing they do every year. It'd be great if they did every year. So essentially, it was their 28th anniversary of the initial airing, not 25th, not 30th, just like the 28th. And it's like, okay. And it all climaxed into the airing of the first episode. So, you know, that's kind of cool. All right, I'll take it. And then on August 25th, that's when they announced, okay, we're doing bi-weekly airings. And it's like, all right, cool. And they followed that up until a few hours before the launch of the most recent episode on the bi-weekly schedule, and it was delayed again. So depending on how you want to count this, there's been, if you don't count the South Park Day, there's been 3 delays before the season even started, and then before they announced the bi-weekly schedule, and then now, if you want to count the South Park Day, because I do think that crept up on a lot of people, that's been 4. I'm sorry, y'all. I love this show to death, but I think this season and the schedule is a little out of control. This is one of my favorite shows, but if any other show did this, people may feel differently about it. And you could argue they've earned it, but I don't know, something with South Park just hasn't been right since 2020. While there's still gold in there, the flow has been off. I know I'm not the only one who sees it. A lot of people are... I'm gonna be back. I'm gonna shut the thing. So a lot of people are factoring in the Charlie Kirk situation, and maybe it should be factored in, but it's not like they made him a main character of a season. Actually, in terms of South Park parodies, their portrayal was definitely on the lighter side. And even then, it was still Eric Cartman. It wasn't like actually Charlie Kirk. And also, he was a side character in a B-plot of an episode that mostly followed Craig anyway. Like, do you remember what they did to Britney Spears? Do you remember what they did to Tom Cruise? Do you remember what they did to everyone who passed away in that summer of 2009? The shock from those things are really real, and they still had, like, Michael Jackson, Billy Mays, and Farrah Fawcett haunting up the show. And even Charlie seemed to like it, so I don't think it's that. But going back to their flow since 2020, I don't know, it's been all over the place, with season 24 literally being just 2 specials. Seasons 25 and 26 having 6 episodes apiece, and random specials just coming out whenever. There were like 6 or 7 of them. And I know now most of the episodes and all the specials are on Paramount Plus, but that is a new thing. Back when these were airing, all the South Park episodes were either on Comedy Central or HBO Max. I miss when they were on Hulu. That was one of the reasons I had it. But the specials were specifically airing on Paramount Plus, with most of them not premiering on Comedy Central at all. And at the time, Paramount Plus had no episodes of the show. The whole thing was a mess, especially with some like light continuity bridging between the specials and the episodes. Like, imagine trying to get someone new into South Park in like that era. Like, oh, the actual episodes, they're on HBO Max. Oh, cool, so that's all I need? No, you need to watch like there's specials too. Oh, that's great. Yeah, they're all on Paramount Plus. Well, I have Comedy Central. It airs on Comedy Central. Well, the episodes air on Comedy Central, but no, you will need Paramount Plus for the specials. It was all over the place. And part of that mess is Matt and Trey kind of chasing that money, which I don't hate them for it, but I do think the show has suffered. And Paramount / Comedy Central / Viacom, I think that's been a very mixed experience as a home for South Park. Sometimes it's great and sometimes it's not. But I don't know, if we're counting South Park Day as a delay, That's 4 episodes and 4 delays. That's a lot, and I think it's okay to admit that. As fans, the only thing we can do is wait, and that's fine, but it's literally been over half a decade since we got a normal 10-ish episode season of South Park. And this is coming from someone who did like certain specials, but really didn't care for other ones. I liked the first 2 specials. Panderverse was fine. Ozempic was fine. The other ones I just did not care for. And also, nothing hits like those normal episodes, especially if something's going on in the world and you wonder if they're going to talk about it. And I know part of this was a contract agreement, but if they could have made the specials like ingrained into the season, like as season finales or something, that would have made them hit a lot harder, because it would have been like a 2 or 3-parter. You would have had to wait each week to see the conclusion. And coming from me, admittedly, selfishly, I make other videos on my channel, but if I'm lucky, the South Park videos hit a little harder and then people go to watch the other stuff I make. I don't get many views. I'm on a corner of the internet, and it is a tiny corner. But a lot of times South Park does bring in people to me, and it's something I like to talk about, and I figure, hey, if you're gonna stop and listen to me talk about this, maybe see what I have to say about that. And I can conclude with some of the information I get on the back end from YouTube that some people who do come for South Park, they do stay for other stuff. And maybe I shouldn't do this, but I do try to plan my videos as best as I can around the airing of the new South Park episodes, because I know that there's a chance it could bring someone in, even if it is just to my small rinky-dink channel. And this whole process with delays from the start to delays in the middle to announcing new schedules to just not following that schedule, it is a little rough on my end. And I don't pity Matt and Trey too much, because those guys are like Mugu millionaires who essentially set their own schedules, so they really have put themselves in this situation. Will I still make an episode about South Park in a week? Absolutely. I am still excited for it. My standards have raised, but they'll probably reach it. They know what they're doing. And like, I'm really not trying to be crappy, but I do see a lot of like, when this was announced, it was, oh, it's cool, take your time and all this stuff. But I don't know, just imagine if like you had a job, right? I know you don't make a show or anything for your work, but you have a job and you haven't worked in over a year, and you tell your boss, hey man, I gotta wait an extra 2 weeks to get my job started. He's like, cool. And he goes, hey, that one went really well. And you're like, that's great. Can you do it the following week? Nah, we gotta chill. We wanna do it as good as we did the last week. All right, cool. And then you go, hey, actually going forward, it's gonna be a bi-weekly arrangement. I can't do this every week. And he goes, cool. And then after the bi-weekly arrangement, you come to them and you say, hey, we're gonna have to skip this one this week. The boss would feel weird. Now, I don't know if the boss is the fans or like Comedy Central in that situation. I'm sure Comedy Central to an extent doesn't mind, because this does prolong the season a little longer. But I think one of the reasons I really wanted to watch this week, like above all that other stuff, is personally I really could have used a laugh. I think we all could have. I'm assuming if you watch this video, you've been on the internet recently, and it's been like a wild place. And even the real world is a wild place. And also, considering things that have happened in the world, I think a lot of eyes were on South Park, and maybe they just cracked under the pressure. And that's fine. Maybe I just thought we needed them a little more this week. Maybe we needed some comedy, some insight, maybe just a dumb episode that has nothing to do with anything. Maybe an episode that commented on everything. Maybe these delays have made me realize how important this show really is, and how much they really are needed in a time like this, at least for me. And I'm sure if you've made it this far in the video, probably for you too. All right, that's all. See you next week, or not, who knows? But either way, if they do something, I'll be here. All right, people, I'll see you later.